Hi, I'm Matt Sanford with the LifeWorks group. And there are a lot of possible reasons why someone would be lonely for the holidays. And I suppose there's a lot of strategies for coping with it. But like in all situations, there's, the more healthy strategies and also the less healthy ones. So I'd like to outline where I think a couple of those common strategies fall, in my opinion, and make some suggestions on how to shift towards healthier ones. I believe that many times in life, walking the healthy road could be called the middle road. That is the road between two extremes or ends. I'm going to give you a picture of ways we can slide off the cliff, either to one side or the other, and then I'll describe what I think it looks like to walk that middle road, the healthier path. Number one would be hooking up. This one involves finding someone who's likely as lonely as you or struggling emotionally in some way or happens to be immature or dysfunctional maybe. And basically using sex as a way to suppress your lonely feelings. Actually, it's a little like using drugs. It's incredibly popular in movies and TV, and it's promoted as so acceptable and normal as to be almost odd if you were someone who didn't use this strategy to avoid your loneliness. Let's be frank, though, this approach is basically selfish. It's manipulating someone in order to not have to deal with your own issues. If you have any conscience in you, you'll regret it afterwards. And you won't have done anything to move you in the direction of healthier coping. And that's not even getting into the using sex inappropriately or how this affects your identity parts. Number two, since we mentioned it, involves using substances to either numb out or help you relax and interact with others or maybe to be able to score, such as what was addressed in point one. Some substances are still culturally considered taboo, like crack or heroin, but there's a number of other things that are becoming more and more acceptable, a la pot, or almost synonymous with holiday celebrations, meaning alcohol. My objective isn't to get into the broad issues of substance use here, but rather to address specifically the use of substances to manage holiday loneliness. What is relevant is whether this strategy is effective in terms of addressing loneliness. Don't get me wrong, however, you won't find anything here of me condoning the use of illegal substances. So what I'm appealing to you to evaluate is whether you are using substances in order to cope in some way with feelings of loneliness, or to enable you to manage your anxiety related to loneliness. I'm not expressing here a rule that it's unacceptable to drink socially. I'm challenging you to address your motivations. If you're using any substance in order to cope, then I will state that it's unhealthy for you. You see, we all make unhealthy choices in life, and in and of themselves, many of them are not often very damaging in the long term. However, the choices we make that are guided by our coping strategies are usually conditioning us in some way. What I mean is that the choices we make in this area of life will set patterns in our life. The point isn't never to make a poor choice. The point is to understand that the choices you make affect your future choices and lead you on this either unhealthy or unhealthy path. Okay? Let's move on. Number three is, let's say you're not much for using sex or substances. Your tendency is rather to shut down. Maybe you turn into Scrooge during the holidays, moping about. Or maybe you just withdraw from people. Maybe you tell yourself that no one would want to be around you and you don't want to be a burden to anyone. In this case, you've fallen off the other side of the cliff. You aren't avoiding your lonely feelings, you're wallowing in them and focusing on the severity of your poor state or magnifying it. We can all be drawn into feeling our negative feelings deeply at times, and that's even normal, that's healthy. But where it takes, this is where it takes discernment to recognize when you've slid past a healthy connection with your sadness and your loneliness, and you've landed in this depressive place that alienates you, it increases your stuckness, prevents personal growth and a movement toward others. So I realize that there's much more to the unhealthy side that we could talk about, but I think this paints the picture of what it looks like to either deny your lonely feelings or magnify them out of proportion. The healthier way, which I'm calling the middle road, it's not actually the easier way. See, these approaches, I suppose, are easy in that they're modeled all around us and we gravitate to them because they maybe feed something in us, but they're short-sighted. The point is that these are, in the end, they're strategies that keep us stuck and immature, and they certainly don't address your core loneliness. So let me paint for you a picture of this middle road. I know it's got to be pretty enticing to draw you away from the path you've been choosing. I believe that this path offers something that the others do not, and that's hope. Hope of getting out of the rut. Hope of getting out of your loneliness, and something more, which I'll get to. The middle path is the path of connection. See, we were all designed for relationships. And so it's no wonder that you're lonely and that you'll go to great lengths to numb or kill that longing in you when it's unmet. But I'm inviting you to instead acknowledge this longing in you. See, the longing is good, even if your attempts to manage it are unhealthy. I don't know your situation, but what I'm inviting you to is to find someone who you know to be a safe person, whom I'll define as being non-judgmental, and to dare to be vulnerable with them and tell them of your loneliness. The point isn't to get them to fill up your loneliness. This is not another attempt to manipulate someone so as you can feel better temporarily. That's important. Your goal is to allow yourself to be seen by another human being. It may involve you explaining to them that your goal is just to be vulnerable and that you don't need something from them. If they extend caring support and encouragement, you have succeeded. And from this positive experience, I hope you will be propelled to try it again and begin to build more safe connections. If, however, they offer advice or pity or judgment, then certainly you'll feel hurt. And you will strongly be tempted to return to your own coping as you curse me for duping you into this. But you did not fail. Here's the part that I said I would get to later, that I need to give you the foundation for why you would choose this risky route to address your loneliness. For the foundation is not actually found in other people. See, the reason for this is that, are you ready for it? People are just as booger-headed as you and me. What I mean is that there certainly are good people and not so good people all along this continuum. And that it's invaluable to develop discernment to be able to tell the difference between safe people and those who aren't. But even good people can forget, can let us down, or can move away, or even die. And so the foundation needs to go beyond people, to the creator of you and me and those people. I believe that God has designed us for relationships because He Himself is relational. He wants to relate to us and take care of us, and He's the only one who can be completely trusted, even when we think He's really messed up, which is for another time. My point is that I build relationships and dare to be vulnerable with safe people, not because people are completely trustworthy, but because I put my trust in God first to take care of me and to develop me, and because He tells us to walk through life in community with others, and that our growth and maturity is integrally connected with others, and that I'm able to see my loneliness from the perspective of getting my own needs, of not just getting my own needs met, but I can consider how God wants to use me in other people's lives. That God can give me courage, He can provide for my needs and my longings, and that maybe He has plans to use me to help others with their loneliness also. So come and let God expand your perspective on your loneliness and see how God wants to bless you and satisfy your longings as well as those around you. So maybe your first step would be even to seek out a counselor. If you would like to schedule an appointment with me, please call our office at 407-647-7005.